we've got the Taru pattern piece number 1, and we've got the fabric cut out to the right size for the pattern piece, and then we've also got the stick and stitch panel which goes in the center of the piece of fabric. So what we've done is take the piece of fabric, fold it in half so you find the true center point of your piece, and then match the 2 top corners and pinch the opposite side so that we've got a point there. You can mark it with a pen or a piece of chalk or a pin, whatever works for you. And then we're going to do the same on the bottom. So we match those 2 corners there, and then find the true center here. And we're going to mark there. Now lay your piece flat. And from the bottom edge, where this point C is actually the center. But we've marked it as well, but if you want to double check, that's exactly where we should be, halfway. And then we take the pattern piece, the stick and stitch piece, and that center point there on this panel, so I've actually marked it again. It's on the top and bottom because it comes out very faint. So just I've drawn with a pen line with the friction pen. Oops, the friction pen, so it's going to disappear. So that I know that center point is right. So then I match the crease, put center here, where point C is, we match the crease, and we're going to place this 2 centimeters or 2.5 centimeters from the base line, which is 1 inch. Go. So I've marked, as you can see, we've got the C, we've got the mark we just made, and we've got this. So this point, this line needs to go at 2.5 centimeters. So there we go. That's exactly right. Now I'm not going to peel it yet. I'm just going to pin it in place, and I'm going to match the top edge to make sure that's perfectly centered as well. I'm going to flip this round. And let me flip the fabric and keep the pattern piece. So this is the top edge. So this is going to be further away from the edge. It's not going to be the 2.5 centimeters. But as you can see, we've got our center point there. We've got our crease there that we've just made. And let's match it again to the C. So there we go, we are perfectly aligned. And now I'm going to peel it back, the stick and stitch patch. I'm just going to fold the top part back, make sure we're really well aligned. You can lift this again if it's not laid correctly. It's really easy to do so. The reason there's a longer gap at the top is because this is where it's ruched up with the drawstring cord. So these don't really get seen anyway at the top, but the bottom will be seen. And then just take your piece and work down. Pulling the panel through. just double checking we're at the correct position. There we go. Beautifully aligned, so that will be perfectly at right angles and straight. And now we stitch our design onto the piece of fabric and then make it as usual once we've rinsed this off. So we're starting with a quilter's knot, and we're going to start, just work our way down. I like to start in the center of each circle and work my way out. That way I find I get a better circle. But there's no rules. You find what suits you really well. I like to also do very tiny stitches rather than longer stitches. It's just my preference. But if you prefer longer ones, these are just a guide. So do whatever stitch length suits you, but just be consistent with whatever you decide. Also, it's interesting that with lighter fabrics you can do smaller stitches, or it's easier to do smaller stitches. When you have a thicker fabric, sometimes it can be a little bit more difficult. You have to push the needle down and then go from the back of the fabric to the front. Like, let me show you, like this. And this does take longer if you do that kind of stitch, whereas if you kind of weave from the top, it's definitely quicker. And everything's exactly the same when you use stick and stitch as when you've traced the design directly onto the fabric. Changing threads, finishing and starting is all exactly the same. Right, I will see you a little bit later when this is nearly finished. This is stick and stitch, so we finished the project and now we're going to wash this off. So you can do this under a tap or in a bowl of water.